Merzcast.
Tell me a little bit more about that because I think our listeners are probably going to be curious about kind of how that factors into all this. Now, I mean, they have brass bands randomly, pastors. Like what are they? What do they believe? What do they think? Why have you decided to hitch a ride with them in your life? What's this all about?
Well, they're part of the Universal Church, but they are a movement as opposed to a standard denomination, and they had kind of a radical idea in the beginning, and that was to bring the church to the people, specifically poor people, and this was in the East End of London in the 1865 era. That's sort of like Charles Dickens' Victorian England.
Is he the one that wrote the Christmas Carol?
He did.
The Muppet Christmas Carol
Yeah.
is the best version.
Yeah.
Nobody can prove me
I don't
otherwise.
think he had the Muppets in mind, but yeah, that's the right story. And so, yeah, that was a pretty radical thing to do back then, and
Bring the church to the people,
bring the church to the
meaning
people. A lot of outdoor meetings, a lot of. Eventually, they realized that they had to help the people physically before they could help them spiritually. So they did soup kitchens and all kinds of charitable work. And eventually they started renting halls and having indoor meetings, kind of like other churches had. But the outdoor street ministry culture just came inside. So that's why uniforms and flags and bass drums and bands and tambourines and all that stuff that was designed to get attention outside came in the building. And that's what makes Salvation Army worship look a little bit different than say your standard church on a Sunday morning back then and now.
wow, that's
the
pretty
basic
interesting.
idea. Of course, it went all over the world, and this huge charitable work and a tremendous number of churches. I don't even know what it is around the world, but I know we're in 130 plus countries, thousands and thousands of officers, and hundreds of thousands of soldiers like me, and a whole lot of musicians as well. Brass banding all over the world in the same way.